Good evening, everyone. Hi, I am Thomasina Jones. I am the superintendent of this wonderful, awesome school district. It is an honor to be here tonight to celebrate 3 distinguished honorees who are going to be inducted into the Bridgeton High School Hall of Fame. Let's give those individuals a round of applause. Certainly, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to introduce the former people who were past honorees who were previously inducted into the Bridgeton High School Hall of Fame. So when I call your name, if you would just stand. Past honoree is Mr. Richard Cates. Mr. Austin Gould. Hi, Mr. Gould. Sidna Prickett. Okay, those are the only people I see that are present today. So again, thank you so much for coming out to celebrate our 3 honorees. You'll hear more about them later. I just want to say that I want to thank each one of you for being here today to celebrate each one of these honorees. They are certainly worthy of honor and recognition. At this time, I will turn things over to our Mistress of Ceremonies. Her name is Mrs. Penny Britt. She is the new principal of Bridgeton High School. She commenced employment with us in July, so we are excited to have her here with us tonight as well. And before I turn things over to you, I want to acknowledge our board members who are here. Miss Angelia Edwards. And she will be taking the honor of introducing the rest of the board members. But if you will allow me to introduce the Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Ned Johnson. My boss has a way of letting me know, when it's time to do certain things, so I certainly respect her position. Okay, at this time, Ms. Britt.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with us for our presentation of colors.
Forward, arch. Left wheel, arch. Color. Hold. Present. Color.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Color. Right. Hey. Forward. Arch.
Thank you. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our distinguished president for the Board of Education, Ms. Angelia Edwards.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I would just like to take a few moments to welcome you all to our distinguished honorees alumni. On behalf of the Bridgeton Board of Education, we do have some board members here, and thank you, Dr. Jones, for being so obedient and allowing me to do my job. We have our Vice President, Mr. Kenny Smith-Bay. Kenny, would you please stand? Miss Mary Peterson, and Pastor Albert Morgan. These are the people that labor day and night to see to it that the Bridgeton Public Schools is always the best that they can be. And while I'm here, I'd just like to say congratulations to our 3 distinguished alumni. Miss Annie, I've been knowing for quite some time, and if I could just take a moment, back in the late 70s, when it was JTPA and all those sorts of programs, Miss Annie had the job of taking the kids around the county and teaching them basketball and softball. And back in those days, we didn't have jobs, and my mother was a single parent. And one thing that always stuck out in my mind when it came to Miss Annie, whenever it came time to go for lunch, if we didn't have lunch, Miss Annie didn't have a problem going in her pocketbook and buying everybody something to eat. And when you're talking about a van load of kids, Miss Annie, a lot of times people don't understand that, but that means something. You know, one thing you all can look at me now and tell that I've never had a problem when it comes to going hungry. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is when you see adults that make sure that children have something to eat, Miss Annie is really special. And I want to tell you that's one thing that stuck out in my mind. And Miss Annie was probably 65, almost 70 years old, still running around the softball field. Yeah. So you definitely are an inspiration to so very many people. And I'm certainly seeing that your ladder is definitely greater than your past. So congratulations, Ms. Annie, and the best of luck to you, and may God bless you. Now, when it comes to Oscar, me and him played together, and it's a different story that I can tell about him. He told it already. Back in my 100 pounds lighter years, I was pretty good on the basketball court. So Oscar would run up and down the court, but he could never find a jump shot that was good enough to beat me. So if I may add, he said that he could beat me on the ping pong table, but the tin can is tore down now, so I don't remember those days. But nevertheless, Oscar is successful now, and we're definitely proud to have you as a Bridgeton alumni. And they often say, is there any good thing that comes out of Bridgeton? Well, we got 3 people right now, and then a whole host of us that can say, yes, there is some good that comes out of Bridgeton. And to Mr. Santos, I don't know what you've done, because I think you're just a little bit younger than me, but congratulations, and you must have done something to sit amongst these distinguished alumni here tonight. And to Mr. Tyrone Williams and your staff, thank you so very much for putting this program together. And to all the alumni that have been here in the past, congratulations again, and thank you so very much for coming out to be with us on this evening. Thank you very much.
I count it as an honor and a pleasure to introduce to you 2 of our students now who will do a musical selection. We have Natalie Ramos, she's one of our seniors. We also have Jamie Bermejo. He is also one of our students who happens to be a junior. I am so excited about the talent in which they're going to roll out tonight. These are 2 of our best. They will be doing a concerto in B minor for violin and piano.
Thank you so much. Beautiful job. And now I'd like to invite you to please join me in singing the alma mater. And you know that I'm more of an artist than a musician, so I hope that you will sing with gusto and drown me out.
At this time, we're going to be calling on Mr. Kenny Smith Bay Jr., Vice President for the Bridgeton Board of Education, who will speak to us about the selection criteria for our outstanding honorees tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Okay, first of all, congratulations to the 3 honorees for being inducted in the Hall of Fame. And to everyone that's in attendance, I want to thank you for sharing that moment and coming to be a part of their induction. And this is how we come up every year with the criteria for the individuals to be selected. The inductee must be a graduate of Bridgeton High School. The inductee is making or has made an outstanding contribution to the community through professional or community service. The number of posthumous inductees shall be limited to 1 per year. Current members of the selection committee are ineligible. And once again, congratulations and thank you everybody for being in attendance.
Can I just ask the people who are part of that committee, if you would just stand briefly to be acknowledged. Excellent. Thank you very much. I need to say that this is sort of like the Grammys. This is the moment that we've been waiting for. It's an introduction of the 2015-2016 Distinguished Alumni for the Hall of Fame, our honorees. To that end, we're going to start with Minister Wright, who will do the honor of introducing Mrs. Annie Wright Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Or should I say, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. We're all aboard. All aboard to a small town, but there's a young lady that has such a big heart. A heart that just never stops giving, never stops going, never stops smiling. See, this is a mother to many, a daughter to some, the all-time greatest giver, no matter what the situation or where it's at or what needs to be done. In this small town, she would just say, baby, it's going to be all right. That meant it was going to be all right to every student, no matter their background, no matter what part of town, whether it was Mill Street, Cherry Street, up on the hill or on Cohangy Street. Just kept giving and going and going. I'm talking about the coach. I'm talking about the elder. I'm talking about whether it's field hockey, soccer, lacrosse, track and field, basketball, softball, double dutch. No matter what it was. I'm talking about the community activists. Always engaged with her street, her city, her neighborhood, your town, your home. On aisle 7 in ShopRite. You better stop acting up before I tell your mom, and I'll beat you right in this aisle and tell them I did it. What? Always engaged. No child left behind. I believe it came from our distinguished honoree. See, this encourager would encourage adults, parents, families, always helpful and kind. 100% all the time. No matter what court, what person, what occasion. I present to you and I introduce the person that's the life coach for every child, every person here in this city. None other than Miss Living Legend herself. Oh, yes, you are. And I'm a product. The belt still works. Don't play. She give you the look. And she just gave it to me now. None other than our very own Bridgeton's finest, Miss Annie Wright.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I love you all. I love you from my heart. I love God. He's good. He's good to me. He's good to you. I thank everyone for coming. There is not one person, but there are many people that I know that have touched my life. But there is one. When I went to South Avenue School as a little girl, there was another girl. Her name was Diane Johnson. She was white and I was black. But it didn't matter. We would walk to school hand in hand. We would walk home hand in hand. If somebody bothered me or Diane, I would tell my big sister, and she's here. Mary, would you please stand? And she's 90. Diane, would you stand and just raise your hand, darling? I love you. I graduated in 1949. And you know, that's back there. And I played hockey, tennis, basketball. And at that time, if you were black, you couldn't go to hockey camp. You couldn't go to basketball camp. But it didn't bother me because I had the kind of parents that taught me, do what you have to do. And I did. I loved it. It was just wonderful. I taught in the school system for years. I had a degree in health and phys ed. When I first finished, I couldn't get a job because they had no openings. Mr. Adamson, I have just the class for you. Emotionally disturbed children. But I didn't mind because I was a teacher and I had this one little girl. She was a little white girl. And we were doing spelling. I said, okay, today we're going to look at our words and we're going to have a test. And she said, you don't tell me what to do, blank, blank, blank. I won't say the words. I said, did you know my mother always taught us when you use those kind of words, you had to wash your mouth out. So I said, she said, I'll run out the room. I said, well, if you could beat me to the door, run. She said, you see this pencil? I said, yes. I'll stab you. I said, did you know the pencil can stab you back? So we had in the back of the room, a sink. I said, you have to go back there and wash your mouth out. So we went back to the sink, and when we got back there, she just broke down. I'm sorry. That same little girl. I said, well, I'm going to go to her home and see what's going on. And Mr. Adamson informed me they don't like black people. But I went, and this grandmother had cats all over. But she told me her life with her grandchildren. And it wasn't one like that, she had 3. I just listened to her, and it worked out where I would take the 3 girls, we'd go to the mall, I told them how to ride the escalator, the elevator, come to my house, have Thanksgiving. And that's just the blessing how God has blessed me. And I say that because my mother taught us. She taught us, people are people, regardless to the color. You treat them like you want to be treated. I am just so blessed. I could go on and on, but I won't. But I do want to thank everybody here. I have another son here. He's sitting there. I'll tell you this story about him. He's a teacher now. As a matter of fact, he was on one of the magazines, the education magazine, Mr. Sherman Denby. When I was at Buckshootum, nobody could deal with this young man. So they told me. So I said, okay. I ran that boy home. I knew his parents. I scared him because he just terrified the school. I ran him home, and his parents understood. They were good. And that's how he became the greatest teacher he is today. So regardless how you are, it's what's in your heart, how you're taught, and how you give. When you give, you get back. And I thank you very much. And my pastor, let me tell you about him. I sing on the choir, and I'm a soprano. And we were at one place, it was when I was honored to go into over there, what I forgot. But anyway, he said, yeah, she sings on the choir, but when she's off, they're all off. So I just want to thank everyone that's here. It is beautiful to see. If you could stand here and just look, it's a blessing. And I thank you, and I love you. And may God continue to bless you. Thank you.
Each of our recipients will be receiving a plaque tonight, so I just want to share with you what's recorded on the plaque. for Miss Annie Williams Wright. Bridgeton High School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame, Annie Williams Wright, educator, civic leader, sports, class of 1949. In recognition of her outstanding commitment to the community through professional and/or community service. Date of induction, March 10th, 2016. Then we have a certificate of commendation presented to you from the Cumberland County Board of Chosen Freeholders. And it says, in recognition of her induction into the Bridgeton High School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame.
All right. Congratulations. You're gonna hold this. We're gonna take a picture with you, Angie. You gotta step out. Is that good enough?
Right. Here we are. Beautiful. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me take one more. Ready? 1.
Thank you.
You're
Love you.
welcome. You know what, guys? One thing about Miss Annie, she could be a, I'm not gonna, you all know it, Miss Annie ain't always been sweet. And there's been times when we were kids that honestly, Miss Annie would get on our nerves. But, because she was a nag, she would nag you into doing what was right. But one thing we never did, we never disrespected her. That's right. And Alden, Pastor Morgan said, we're gonna take up the offering because you gave a good sermon today.
Thank you very much.
Well, Miss Annie still comes to central office, 41 Bank Street, the red brick building. So I am so fortunate to have my staff here tonight. So my senior executive administrative assistant is Mrs. Arletha Lane. My confidential secretary is Miss Elizabeth Garcia. Also a confidential secretary, Judy Waddy Jones, and my office manager, administrative assistant, Mrs. Robin Concordia. They have a special presentation for you, Miss Annie.
Miss Annie,
Yes,
we just
ma'am.
want you to know, in our lifetime, you meet many different people, but there are some people that I believe are given to us as a gift, and we believe you are a gift to us. As a young child, I remember my grandmom telling me I could only go as far as your house. So I'm glad you lived in the middle of South Pine Street, so at least I got to go that far. But as a woman of God, as a mother, as a friend, as a teacher, we admire you. We watch you from day in and day out that you come and visit and do your schooling with the kids. We just want you to know we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for your example of love.
I love you too so much. My goodness. You wouldn't kept it a secret all night.
Oh, you came off? And it reads, this is a scripture from Proverbs 31, 10 through 31. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her worth is far above rubies. Ms. Annie Wright, for the love you have shown to all that surround you, the seed of love that you have planted in so many children and their children will forever grow in the hearts you have touched. You are a woman of God that so many look up to, and we are blessed to have you as part of our lives. Thank you for your love, strength, wisdom, example, support, and your sincerity. From the ladies you have inspired, Arletha, Elizabeth, Judy, and Robin.
Here, my ladies. They're my ladies. It matches your dress. there's one other thing I was saying. Just one. I just want to say that I belong to Delta Sigma Theta, and I have two of my darling Deltas here, which I'm a Delta Deer. I went in as a Delta Deer, and when I went, I didn't know, but awesome. I love them. Thank you, darling.
All right, it's hard to transition from such a sweet, 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 sweet lady. Next, our next honoree is Mr. Oscar M. Telefair III, and here to introduce him is Dr. Thomasina Jones.
It is certainly an honor to be able to celebrate all of our honorees today. I'm so proud of each one of you. Mr. Oscar Telfair, what an intrepid man of valor. He is someone that we can all be proud of. He is certainly someone who was a member of the Bridgeton High School cast, and he is certainly a supporting cast member to a lot of people who are still in Bridgeton. Although, Mr. Telfair, you live in Texas now, we know that you have continued to invest in our children, and for that we really appreciate you. So you are a brave and courageous person. We are so very honored to be able to recognize you today. So let me tell you about Mr. Telfair. Oscar M. Telfair III graduated from Bridgeton High School in 1978. He completed his undergraduate studies at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and earned his law degree at Ohio State University College of Law in Columbus, Ohio in 1985. He is a member of the State Bar Associations in Ohio, Georgia, and Texas. He also is a member of the National Bar Association, the American Bar Association, is a director of the Blue Bonnet Federal Credit Union, and is also a director of the Brentwood Baptist Church Federal Credit Union. Oscar is managing attorney and sole practitioner of his own law firm in Texas, concentrating in the areas of tax, corporate, business, personal injury, wills and probate, and other general civil matters. So if anybody needs an attorney, Mr. Telfair is well-versed in a lot of different areas. Oscar was previously employed by Marathon Oil Company in Houston, Texas, and finally Ohio as a corporate attorney, tax attorney, and tax analyst and planner. Oscar maintains an intimate relationship with the residents of the city of Bridgeton. He mentors young people and encourages them to explore careers in law. He is actively involved in his church, Brentwood Baptist Church, where he serves as a deacon. It is certainly a privilege to be able to introduce to you Mr. Telfair, and I want to say one thing. If you know anything about Mr. Telfair, he does not like cold weather. So we made sure that we talked to a higher being and said, you are coming to town, and that's why we have this beautiful weather. At this time, let's give him a hearty, thunderous applause. Yeah.
To Dr. Jones, the superintendent of schools, that sounds good. I am extremely proud of you. Members of the board, to the selection committee. I talk all day, every day, but I will admit I'm nervous, okay? But I'm eternally grateful for this recognition, and I humbly accept this. First of all, I thank God because he navigated me to this place and to this time. He ordered my steps. Okay. And then he ordered my stops, because there were some times that I'll admit I wanted to be popular. I wasn't a popular kid in high school. I was about, in 10th grade, I was weighed 98 pounds with clothes on, and was about 4'10". But there were people that invested in me, and I felt it important that I did what was right. And I have plenty of fond memories of Bridgeton High School. As I indicated, I was 4'10" and 98 pounds. I wanted to play football. I didn't want to be I was never going to be a mathematician, but I remember there were football players that were 277 pounds. Matter of fact, I remember their names, Zach Osborne and Donald 50. And I did the math, 277 minus 98 pounds. So I served as the manager of the team. Translated, I was the water boy, was what they called me. But I got the opportunity to go to every Bridgeton High School football game, home and away, and stood on the sidelines. So that was important to me because I learned service. To the administrators and my teachers, support staff, I thank you because you felt it important to invest in me and to make sure I stayed on a narrow path. I'm thankful for all the opportunities that I had at Bridgeton High and in Bridgeton Public Schools. When I walked in here, there was a young gentleman that walked up to me and asked me if I knew who he was. I'll be honest, I didn't recognize him. I thought he went to school with me. But then he kept talking, and I recognized his voice. It was Mr. Douglas Rainier. While a student at Bridgeton High School and even at junior high school, I was a member of a group called the AVA, the Audio Visual Assistants. I got the opportunity to learn a trade, photography, videography, and it's funny, in junior high school, my name was always on the loudspeaker. Oscar Telfair, please report to the office. Oscar Telfair, please report to the office. Everyone thought I was in trouble all the time, but I was called to fix projectors and set up things. But that was important because it gave me self-esteem. It made me feel like I was a part and I had an opportunity, and it helped me to grow. So I want to thank you, Mr. Rainier, and you're looking good. I want to thank my family. Truly, they have been the wind beneath my wings. A lot of you know my story. On August 5th of 1968, my Aunt Mary sat 5 young children down, the oldest being 9 years old, and she informed us that our mother was dead, had passed away. I didn't understand it, and I didn't know where I was going or what we were going to do. But God sent angels. He sent a lot of angels. He sent a village of angels. Some of them are here today. I have my aunts here, and then there are people that became aunts. That Miss Verna Laster, I have my aunt Corinth Wilson, my aunt Sarah Jones, my aunt Willie, and there are people that have gone before that made sure I had what I need to reach my goals. And I sincerely thank you. I have my godmother and all my god sisters and brothers. I want to thank all of you all. And I want to thank those that pushed me. I indicated my teacher. I have someone here who pushed me, even though he made me sit on the front row of the choir all the time. And he made me lead a song that I never wanted to sing, Wade in the Water, but he pushed me out front, and I thank you for that, Pastor Morgan. I still can't sing, okay? 10 or 12 blocks away from everyone else, okay? But again, thank you for this honor. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize 4 young ladies who I share this award with. My 4 sisters, my favorite oldest sister, Vernell, who could not be here, my favorite next to the oldest, Genevieve, my favorite next to the youngest, Sheila. I ain't stupid, okay? And my favorite baby sister, Sandy, okay? Because I've said favorite to any of them, I would hear from them, okay? Truly, we worked together, and they were always supporting me. And they allowed me to shine. I could come home from college and go back. I had care packages beyond compare, okay? And they always had an encouraging word, like others here, my godmom, I call her Mom Clementine. So I want to thank my sisters, Sheila and Alexandria are here today. She's giving me the look, okay? But again, to the board, to the superintendent, to the selection committee, I say thank you, and I say thank you to God. God bless you, and go Bulldogs. Oh.
We have their high school photo on here, so that's why they're like totally flabbergasted when they see it. So his plaque, you say he has hair, so that's a good thing. Bridgeton High School Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame, Oscar M. Telfair III, lawyer, educator, civic leader, class of 1978, in recognition of his outstanding commitment to the community through professional and/or community service. Date of induction, March 10th, 2016.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oscar said that, Oscar said that he was a little shy and that he had some issues when he was younger. But look at him now. African American boys would truly be appraised and be proud of you, Oscar. Amen. And I certainly hope that one day you will come back and be a part of our parade of champions so the kids in this community can see what something out of Bridgeton came to be, and it's a wonderful man as yourself. Thank you so very much. We're proud of you.
Last but not least, our final honoree is Mr. Arnaldo Santos Sr., and he will be introduced by Mrs. Maribel Santos.
Good evening, everyone. Just, everyone has been recognized here and so wonderfully introduced, and usually I do business introductions, and introducing my husband is a totally different ball game. When talking about him, it's very hard to describe who he is in such a little bit of time. When I met my husband, I was a probation officer in Mercer County, and I worked for the court system in Trenton, New Jersey. And I knew nothing about Bridgeton, had absolutely, didn't even know it existed on the map. And we met at a church function. It was a retreat, and we were introduced, and we're told that we would be doing great things together, that we would be working together. And I thought, I'm not working with him. I don't need to be set up. So he asked me for so many numbers, and I thought to myself, okay, I'll give him one number. And so he continuously called and wanted us to do work together. As time went by, he talked about Bridgeton and talked about his relationship with a lot of people that made a difference in his life. And it's very important for me to say that he was raised without a father. and his mother raised him and his siblings all by herself. Who says that being of a single parent family, you're not going to be successful and that you're not going to amount to anything? Being a mentor of a lot of students and working with kids, we see that a lot of them do go in different paths, but it's because I feel that's what they choose. You know, if you have a good parent or you have someone who's a role model or someone who's not in your family, that's a role model, they make a difference in your life. And so Arnold was telling me about his home life, and well, we got married, and but prior to that, he was telling me, you know, it was so hard growing up with hardly anything and just not being able to do the things that I wanted to because it was just a lack of money. And but he says, I always received encouragement. And then when I believe that he got his first job, and he was excited and talked to Mr. Doug Vernier. Mr. Doug Vernier has always been in Arnold's mouth, always talking about him. And I didn't know him, but I just liked him by what he was talking about. He said, you know, I went to Mr. Vernier, he was my teacher in high school, Bridgeton High School, and I said, I want to buy this house. He pointed out a house that he wanted. And he says, I'm sorry, he says, you're going to have to work very hard. You can't afford that house. So he just felt really upset because he thought he's so young and he's not able to buy this house. But, you know, of course, that's inexperience talking. And as time went by, he graduated, and he said, I'm going to make something of myself. He became a police officer. He worked with the Bridgeton Police Department. Prior to that, he was working also as a sheriff or for the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. And he says, okay, I want to do much more than that. He is a retired New Jersey police detective, and I'm just going to briefly explain what he has accomplished. 25 years, recognized expert witness in the field of East Coast Mexican street gangs. He was one of the first officers who actually has had a book about this and actually gave it to the police department so that they can follow that. He's also was recognized by the United States Justice Federal District Court of Newark, New Jersey. He has previously worked for the Bridgeton Police Department. He has previously been assigned to the Cumberland County Narcotics Task Force, Bridgeton, New Jersey. He also worked with the FBI Gang Task Force, Northfield, New Jersey office, and New Jersey Attorney General's Gangland Task Force. He graduated, of course, here in 1987. He attended St. Joseph's Jesuit University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. From 2005 to 2011, he studied theology and was ordained a Catholic deacon for the Diocese of Camden in 2011. In addition to his law enforcement career, he's currently working as an associate chaplain for Inspira Medical Center in Vineland, Elmer, and he's also a parish pastoral associate for Hispanic ministry at Parish of All Saints in Millville and St. Maximilian Colby in Marmora, New Jersey. He just finished, actually after 10 years, working on a manuscript about gang situations, how to get out of gangs, and also to be an inspiration to the community. He is now under contract, and I'm very proud of him after 10 years of working on this. And Mr. Vernier, he did buy the house. And he just felt so good about that. He says once he signed, he thought about you. You have been an inspiration to him to keep pushing forward, and a lot of other men in his life, in which, since he didn't have his father, to help him move on and do exactly what he wanted to do. We've also worked together in youth ministry. We've helped over 200 kids in Bridgeton, New Jersey. A lot of these kids have left the streets and gang life. Some have become officers. Some have graduated from NYU, which we were proud to make sure that we removed the tattoos. Some of them have become architects. I wish they were all here. And we continue to work with the youth. My husband is very proud of what he's done and continues to do it with a very kind and open heart for everyone. I mean, he's always has room. Sometimes I'm pushed on the wayside, but he actually has so much room to give to everyone. And in working in the hospital, he helps so many in need. We have 2 children. My son, or our son, AJ, who he's graduating in June from Cumberland Regional High School with high honors, so I'm really proud of that. We raised him very strict and good kid. He's going to Japan next year. Our daughter, Angelica, she graduated last year, and she's also in college, psychology major, and she's going to be doing her internship next year with the FBI in Philadelphia. So I thought my son would be doing this, but instead it's my daughter. So he's going into robotic engineering, and I'm nervous tonight. But I'm really proud of my husband, and I just want him to come up and say a few words to everyone. Thank you.
Wow. Well, I would like to begin by thanking God, who is the way, the truth, and the life, who is everything and should be everything in our lives. I want to thank my amazing wife and son and family. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to begin by sharing a short story about my life. When I was around 8 years old, I remember, I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I was born in Orocovis, which is the center of the island. And I remember very, very young age. I was an A student in Puerto Rico. But there was a problem that was going on in the home. My father was an alcoholic, a drug user, an abuser, and there was violence in our home. And one day, I remember my father assaulting my mother. It was around 2 o'clock in the morning. That's called, I was traumatized from what I saw. And this man, he looked huge. He was punching my mother, assaulting her, and told her, "Wake up, I want you to cook for me," at 2 in the morning. And I remember him assaulting my brothers, my siblings. And I remember telling my mother the very next day, "Mom, you need to leave Dad." 8 years old. "If you don't leave Dad, he's going to kill you or us." And Mom made a huge decision in her life. She went to the Capitol, met with her brother, and told her, "I can't stay with Norberto anymore. I need to leave him. I need to get a divorce." And her brother told her that he was going to help her. And she had a sister that lived in West New York, New Jersey. And they contacted her. And we all moved to the United States. And I remember when I came here, when I moved to the United States of America. Didn't speak English. I was about 11 years old. It was tough. It was hard. It wasn't easy. It was very challenging. And after living in North Jersey for about a year, my mom decided to move to South Jersey, where she had relatives in Bridgeton, New Jersey. And I ended up here in this city. And we lived in an underprivileged area. I used to live in an apartment complex, Bridgeton Villas. And I remember that my mom used to say that it's okay. If we live here in the project, it's okay. But you could be whoever you want to be, whatever you want to be here in life. And then I remember her taking me to church. She planted the seed, the foundation. And then there were people, teachers here in this high school, like Mr. Doug Rainier, police officers that walked the beat, that used to encourage me. And they used to say you could do more. And I remember a pastor that used to minister in the apartment complex and used to teach religious education. So here I am. I didn't have a father growing up, but there were role models that made a difference in my life. And I chose the right path to do better than my father. Although, after 30 years, my father came back into my life. And I wanted to build a relationship with him. You know, you're growing up without a father, you know, you want to spend time with your father, you want to go to the movies with him, you want to ask him for advice, you know. I didn't have that, so I wanted to catch up with him. And unbeknownst to me, he was still drinking and using drugs. And I could stand right here and say that I forgave him, my mom forgave him, my brothers and sisters forgave him. And he passed away around 7 years ago. But before he passed, I made sure that I introduced him to the Lord. And I made sure that I take care of him, and which I did his last years. And why am I sharing this? Because there is hope. And if I made it, a young Latino boy from Bridgeton Villas, I never thought that I can accomplish so many things. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the honorees. Congratulations. And again, I want to thank God. Thank God, and I'll leave you with this thought, and I always had this in my mind. It's okay to be a follower, because a good follower becomes a great leader. May God bless you all.
Thank you for sharing your testimony with us. Arnaldo A. Santos Sr., law enforcement, civic religious leader, class of 1987, in recognition of his outstanding commitment to the community through professional and/or community service, date of induction, March 10, 2016. You had a lot of hair.
Look at this picture.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Santos, for that testimony. Truly, you have looked at the example that you had as a father, and you stopped the curse. And for that reason, I'm sure your family is so very, very proud of you. And you know what? The 3 honorees tonight, we're going to definitely keep you in prayer. Mr. Santos, you working with the gangs, and everybody knows now the police officers have a blue cloud hanging over their heads because of everything that goes on with that's going on in the United States. Oscar, we're going to definitely pray for you because sometimes when you're dealing with corporate law, sometimes they are your worst criminals because it's about $1. And you all know when it comes to that almighty dollar, people can get very, very wicked. And then, Ms. Annie, we're going to pray for you as well because you're dealing with our finest. And you know what I'm talking about because right now in this day and time, these children are always not our finest, but we are claiming that they are our finest. So thank you so very, very much. I really appreciated this night because you 3 are some of the best that we have had. Not to say anything about Mr. Rainier when his group was here, but you 3 were very, very, very distinguished, and we truly appreciate this. Dr. Jones, I'm going to turn it back over to you and Ms. Britt. Thank you so very much for coming, and congratulations again.
Thank you so very much for coming to the lobby area. We're going to have the unveiling at this time, but before we actually do that, I certainly would like to recognize Mr. Tyrone Williams. He's been a major, like a significant part of this whole ceremony that we have every year, and he's retiring. So after 32 years of service to the Bridgeton School District, this is his last induction ceremony, so thank you so much, Tyrone. So he's going to explain to you the process at this time regarding this whole unveiling and how you can come and take a look at all the past honorees and the 3 that are being inducted today, get some information about them. Mr. Williams?
Okay, this time we're going to do the unveiling.